Hi there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 227 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Today we're talking about emotional health and well-being, of course, this whole month. And today's topic is emotional intelligence. I'm going to share the 5 key components of emotional intelligence and then 5 strategies that can help you every day, starting today, to improve and increase your emotional intelligence. Why do we care about this? Because the more emotionally intelligent we are, the better we interact with other human beings, the more we show up as who we authentically are. So we make better decisions. We make better choices for us. We show up in a way that honors not only ourselves and who we are and who we're meant to be, but sets an example for other people. So what are the 5 components? Let's start with that of emotional intelligence. Of course, the first one is self-awareness. Why? Because if we don't know who we are, if we're not aware of our emotions and what triggers us, what impacts us, if we don't understand our strengths, our weaknesses, our values, and the impact that all of that has on others, that's the first component of emotional intelligence, is knowing who the heck we are and what we stand for and what's important to us. The second is self-regulation, meaning managing disruptive emotions in a way that we don't act impulsively and that we adapt to the changing circumstances and situations that show up in our life, right? We all face stressful situations, usually on a daily basis. Me, every day something that could be stressful and handled in a bad way happens. But I choose to be more self-aware, and I actually pause and choose my responses in order to not react in a way that could make the situation worse instead of making the situation better. Depends on the situation. For example, if it's a medical emergency, for some reason, throughout my career and throughout my life, I've always been really good at keeping my cool and keeping my head in the midst of the emergency. And then after the emergency, I will respond emotionally. I don't know. I must have, as a kid, as a little kid, got hurt and had accidents and cracked my head open, ripped my face open on a tricycle at 2. I think I learned early on that to be calm during the emergency part of it, and then after the medical part was all taken care of, or the ambulance arrived and took the person to the hospital, then I could react emotionally. And I would usually go off and react emotionally on my own, so it didn't have a negative impact on other people. I don't know, I just learned that as a little kid. But that's an example of self-regulation. Third component of emotional intelligence is motivation. Staying driven to achieve your goals and objectives despite inevitable obstacles, setbacks, challenges, etc. I don't know about you, but throughout my lifetime, I cannot hardly remember, if I can remember even one situation where I set a goal, I took one action, and I immediately got the thing that I was wanting. Maybe I set bigger goals, but I can't think of a single situation like that in my life. So again, I learned early on, there's going to be stuff that comes up that blocks us getting what we want in any area and aspect of our life. And we could quit and get all mad and angry about it. Guess what? Then we're never going to get what we want. Or we can say, oh, that was a little speed bump. That didn't work. That didn't go the way I wanted it to. What am I going to do now, right now, next, in order to get the thing that I want? Because nobody can prevent you from getting, doing, being, and having anything that you want in the universe except you. You're the only one that's stopping you. And that is a harsh reality for many of us who aren't in the position we want to be in all areas and aspects of our life, because the only thing holding us back is actually us. Usually it's believing that we deserve it and can have it. Fourth component of emotional intelligence is empathy. Recognizing and understanding other people's emotions. Do you have the ability to, if you're going off on something, realize the impact that the way you're dealing with that, the way you're speaking, the tone of voice, the way you're acting and behaving has an impact on other people? And do you understand that then they're going to have emotions back? And the fifth component is social skills. Things like building and maintaining relationships, healthy relationships, please, managing conflict, and inspiring other people are all social skills that we want to have be a part of our emotional intelligence. So let me share a couple of people's stories, or one story for sure, and then we'll hop into the things that you can do on a daily basis to develop and improve your emotional intelligence. Because we all want to be continually improving our emotional intelligence all the time, right? I mean, when we're a kid, we don't have very much emotional intelligence. We just feel something and react. But that's hopefully where we learn when it's low risk of bad things happening, super bad things happening, is when we're young. Because the older we get, the consequences of our inappropriate behavior have a much more profound effect on us. And it can actually be life and death. I mean, by the time you're a teenager, if you have not figured out emotional regulation or social skills or self-awareness, a lot of times you're in big trouble, because the people that you might offend are bigger than you and usually more dangerous, and they can harm you in a way that could actually kill you. Can you tell I've been reading some child development things? All right, so let's talk about Sarah Thompson's story. Sarah went from being a reactive leader to a reflective leader, and it was really, really powerful for her. She's a senior marketing manager. She was at the time for her company, but her reputation was that she had super sharp skills and was very talented, but she had a super short temper and a short fuse. She often reacted emotionally during high stress situations, high pressure situations, which created tension in her team, and that meant they weren't ever sure what was going to make her blow. I can relate to this because when I was a child, my family developed this saying for me called "pop the cork," meaning, Sharon, you're boiling up, pop the cork and let it go. And I came to hate and love that term, but reflecting back on it now, I'm glad they did that, because it taught me at a very young age that I needed to be self-aware and to self-regulate if I was going to be able to get along in my family, much less get along in the rest of the world. Realizing that it was affecting her career and her team and her ability to get promotions, Sarah decided to work on self-awareness and self-reflection. Remember, those are two, and actually the first two, of the 5 components of emotional intelligence. So she kept a daily journal, a daily emotion journal, to track what triggered and what her reactions were to the triggers. That is such a powerful thing to do. I mean, we do it in every area and aspect of our life if we're wise enough to do that. Start documenting what we're actually doing, because what our brain tells us what we're doing, I think of, when you're tracking eating journals or exercise journals or tracking anything in our lives, what we think we're actually doing and what we're actually doing aren't always the same thing. What we think we're thinking and what we're actually thinking aren't always the same thing. That's why journaling is so powerful, because we can go back and say, all right, well, this is what I was thinking on Monday, and how what triggered me emotionally. She practiced mindfulness and meditation to pause before responding. She practiced taking a deep breath and counting to 10 before she reacted or responded to anything, and that really helped. She sought feedback from colleagues to better understand how her actions affected them. And boy, when people actually tell you how your behavior is impacting them, if you're brave enough to listen, you will learn so much about yourself. You learn about them too, but you also learn so much about yourself that helps you to powerfully internalize and change, because a lot of times the reaction that we're causing or the things that we're doing to other people are totally not what we intended. Within a year, Sarah's team productivity increased and her leadership evaluations improved dramatically. People started to respond to her lack of overreaction, her lengthened or short temper ending. She became known as a calm and strategic thinker, leading to her promotions as director of marketing, which was the promotion she had always wanted, but she was never going to achieve as long as she had the reputation of having a short temper and a short fuse. She credits her rise to mastering emotional regulation and empathy toward her team. And I would concur. I'm only going to share one story, because when I share too many stories, these videos run way too long. All right, so what are some things that we can do right now today? And I'm going to challenge you today to pick one thing and actually do it. And I'm going to share 5 things. Number 1, daily reflection. Spend a couple of minutes every day identifying emotional triggers and patterns that you are affected by. We all have them. We don't always want to admit it, but the more we uncover them, the more we put and shine light on them, the easier it is to manage them in a way that is in alignment with who we really are, versus just saying, that's just the way I am. Can you tell that's one of my least favorite sayings from people? Second, mindfulness practices, meditation, deep breathing, grounding techniques to regulate your emotions. 3, feedback seeking. Ask people that you know, like, and trust, that will give you their honest opinion and honest feedback, how you come off to them in terms of emotional intelligence. And you ask them what they think about you and about your emotional reaction to things, and they will tell you. Fourth, empathy exercises. Do some role playing. If you've got somebody that you know, like, and trust, or with your team, do some role playing. And then perspective taking to strengthen emotional understanding. Try to get other people's feedback and opinion and perspective on your performance in different areas and aspects of your life. And then active listening. Of course, active listening. People will tell us everything we need to know if we just listen, meaning we pay 100% attention to what they're saying, both their verbal and nonverbal cues, their tone of voice, their emotions or reflections, their facial expressions, everything, all of their body language. We be present and pay attention to that. And then we come up with our follow-up question or response. Active listening can help us in so many areas and aspects of our life that it's mind-boggling that we aren't all perfect listeners. But guess what? No one teaches us how to listen. Nobody, at least I don't remember all my years of school and education, anyone ever teaching us how to active listen. They expected us to listen. They expected us to do what they say, but they never said, you know, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen up. All right. So today, pick one of those 5 things we can do daily. Do it and see. I would say if you've never done it, start with self-awareness. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. I'm going to go attend to a dog. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.